All right. So welcome to episode 2 of the weekly game drive with the commuters. Today, oh, and I noticed last time we didn't really I don't think we really introduced ourselves. So I just want to make it clear. I am Basil, and that is on the other end we have
I'm Sky.
yeah, and Basil and Sky. We're pretty much the only two of us that are doing this show for now. But well, who knows where it'll go from here. But this week wasn't quite as newsworthy as last week. I predict probably a similar thing for the next week, and then I assume as soon as June gets rolling, we're going to kind of be have a lot to talk about.
We'll be getting like a lot of those new announcements and stuff like that, and we'll see more.
Some interesting interesting tidbits, I should say, to talk about. Interesting little mashuganas that are definitely worth kind of discussing, I would say. And yeah, so today we're going to start with a rumor that Bloodborne, the one of the more high-renowned PS5 exclusives, is coming to PC at some point in the future. This comes from Instant Gaming, and they didn't really specify any kind of dates or anything. It's actually from an insider who said, and I quote, Bloodborne is currently in development for PC. I wanted to go ahead and get this to you guys who love to game on PC. This could take 10 months or to a year to get announced, but other Sony games PC might get announced first and this later. If you thought that Horizon was the only one coming to PC, then prepare to get blown away. But yeah, do not take this as 100% confirmation and wait for official news. And of course, take every leak with a grain of salt. So this isn't like Sony coming in saying it, but apparently it's a pretty reputable insider. And with Sony's kind of recent trend of bringing like Horizon Zero Dawn to PC and Death Stranding to PC, it kind of makes sense that Bloodborne would come to PC, especially because FromSoft games are kind of like they live on PC. It's kind of like their main deal, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, here's the thing. First off, if it does end up happening, my question is considering that they haven't touched Bloodborne at all, like Bloodborne went relatively untouched after the first DLC. I'd be curious if they'd relaunch it not only for PC, but if they'd relaunch it for PS4 as well as like a definitive edition or Game of the Year or something.
Have they not
And then
done a Game of the Year edition of
uh
Bloodborne?
I believe they did, but this one could be. The reason I said definitive edition first is they could do a definitive edition, and then since there's still Bloodborne content that was cut, they could actually re-implement some of that, or they could like finish it. That's happening a lot right now, where or cut content from previous versions of games is like coming back in a new version because they're re-releasing it on a new platform. I.e., Xenoblade Chronicles is doing something like that. So I could see them doing that. If that's also assuming that they do it. This is a rumor. This is a rumor, so I'm gonna hold my breath. I don't take leaks and rumors at face value immediately.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially like this one. This one's very very particular. That like From is very very weird about porting games. It doesn't we still don't have a second Demon Souls port. We only have it on PS3. They never brought it, even though people like Demon Souls. It's never been re-released. So I don't know. Bloodborne would make the money. I'll say that. So I think it would actually be a smart decision if they want to just make more money out of nowhere. Considering I don't know what they're doing right now. Oh no, they're doing Elden Ring. Um, I don't know. It would be exciting because then modders could do things too. And I'd like to see what modding could do to Bloodborne because Bloodborne has that whole chalice dungeon system. I would really like to see what they could do. Maybe like custom challenges or custom like chalice dungeons and stuff would be really cool.
Yeah, so the way I kind of read this, if this is true, to me it screams of a sequel coming out on PS5. Um, the way at least as far as Sony's kind of been like, the way they've been talking about all their exclusives coming to PC, except for, I would say, Death Stranding doesn't really fit this because Death Stranding's coming to PC because Kojima, not really because of PlayStation. They're not publishing it on PC, 505 Games is. But uh, I think what Sony is doing with like Horizon Zero Dawn coming to PC is they want to release some of their big games onto a different platform with the hopes that PC players will play it, want to play the sequel, and where would the only place to buy the sequel be? PlayStation 5. So then they have to buy a PlayStation 5. That's kind of how I see it. You wait like 3 or 4 years after your exclusive launches, it's doing nothing on your platform. Anyone who's going to buy it on PlayStation's already buy it. You put it on PC, you make tons of money, and then you also get more people interested in the sequel. That's kind of how I see Sony, why they're doing this. It's kind of, I mean, maybe that's a little like marketing kind of paranoid, but it just makes sense to me, like from a business perspective, to be like, okay, well, you like this game, you can play it, but if you want to play the sequel, you have to buy the PS5 or wait 8 years till it comes to PC.
Yeah, all right. I could see that. That'd be an interesting marketing tactic. I mean, it'd still make them money regardless. I don't think. I think the only thing that would happen is a net gain for them. To be honest with you. So, like, I don't know. That'd be a cool marketing strategy. I think it'd work. Question is, are they actually doing a sequel potentially in this theory? And my big like thing towards that is I don't think so. I as of the moment, the only thing that we've heard anything about is that they're still working on Elden Ring.
So here's the thing about that, because FromSoft doesn't own the IP of Bloodborne, so it is very possible that Sony just has a different studio do the sequel.
Ah, no. Don't put that thought in my head. There's a reason that it was made by them because they get it. Even though I'm a dissenter and don't think Bloodborne's as great as people think.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm not a FromSoft guy. I've tried it, what, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Sekiro. I like Sekiro the most, but even that, like, I just don't, something about the game loop, or sorry, the gameplay loop of those games just does not click with my brain. And and
I
I thought you were
understand
gonna
that.
tell me to get good.
No, no, I was gonna say I understand why the gameplay loop isn't for you. Even though you should just get eyes. Um, no, I mean, I like From Games. I would probably end up buying Bloodborne again on PC, depending on how expensive they charge me for it. Because I'd play it. I'd like Bloodborne. I would probably have reason to go back and play it then, because I don't want to play it on my PS4 because I'm just lazy. Uh, but I don't know. If a PC release happens, I'm not gonna be like woohoo. I'm gonna be like cool. That's about where I fall on this topic. Like, I don't really have much more to say honestly, because it's like if it happens, cool. If it doesn't, I haven't nothing's changed.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of on the same boat there. I don't really have anything else to add, and I'm not really a big FromSoft fan. I recognize that they make fantastic games, but they're not really for me. But I do think it would be great if they brought it to PC for all the PC players who are thirsting for it, if you will.
Considering how big the PC community is for Souls, yeah, it would definitely like it would make a lot of people happy for sure.
But yeah, I think that's kind of all we have to say on that topic. You brought up this next topic, so do you wanna kind of introduce it?
Yeah. So Epic Games is doing this collaborative effort with a couple different gaming sites. So this is I got this recently from GameSpot earlier in the week. So the Epic Game Store is partnering with some digital retailers. It partnered with Humble last year, but this year they're doing a collaborative effort with Fanatical, Green Man Gaming, and Genba Digital, where they're going to have integration with the Epic Game Store. Meaning, if you buy a title on Green Man Gaming, Fanatical, or Genbu, or is it Genba? It's Genba. I'm sorry, Genbu is a thing. Genba, it will proceed to let you put it on the Epic Games Store library that you have for free.
Oh, that's
Like
pretty
you can
sweet.
just, yeah, it's essentially like a form of collaborative effort between them and other digital outlets. Which, all right, everyone has their opinion on the Epic Games Store. I personally still haven't downloaded it. I've heard that they're getting better. That's the one thing I've noticed is they're putting a lot of effort.
They've been giving away games like there's no tomorrow. What, they just gave away GTA 5 for free? Like they're giving out games
Yeah,
for free left and right here.
yeah. I'm starting to wonder if they really want to compete with Steam, like
I think they do.
hardcore. Yeah, it's all right. So the battle between companies is on PC. Here's the thing. I'm actually going to have a surprising opinion here, probably. I like the Epic Games Store, not because I like them, but because I'm glad there's competition now.
Yes.
Like, Steam has been the single PC, or at least the biggest PC, like, digital retailer, essentially, for the longest time. And as much as I, like, appreciate things that Steam does, this has been a battle that needed to happen for a while, because I would almost say they had a monopoly over it. I mean, yes, you had Humble Bundle, and you had Green Man Gaming, you had G2A. Don't talk about G2A. They suck. They're terrible. Those guys steal. But this is that's another topic. We'll have to put that on the docket one of these days, because G2A has a lot of things in its controversy. But I think this needed to happen. I'm glad that we have two stores that are willing, or a store that's willing to oppose them. And you know what? So far, from what it seems, Epic Games has made so much money off Fortnite that they have the ability to do this. And thus far, I think it looks like they're gonna actually do a pretty good job. Now, I know there's a lot of people who don't like the whole, ah, Epic Games is gonna get exclusivity on PC and blah blah blah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still just a retailer.
Yeah, you don't have to buy, it's not like buying a $500 console to play an exclusive game. You're just downloading a launcher.
Yeah, I understand why people hate that though, because having multiple launchers is like, it pisses people off. It pisses me off that I have to have a Blizzard launcher to play Warzone.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's kind of unfortunately like the reality that we're in now is like tons of launchers. And I mean, I guess it's when you think about like the free market and stuff, obviously like convenience is what people want, but do you just want one, like, if you only have one person making all these programs or one company, then it's like they have no need to be like Valve was kind of complacent for a long time. And this, I feel like they're finally getting the kick in the pants they've needed.
I mean, if the Epic Game Store continues to make good on this and numbers go up, I mean, you know what would be super crazy to me, if Epic Games really just gave them like a big like middle finger and we're like, all right, if you have made like blank purchase on Steam for like certain new games, we'll totally do it too, or something outrageous. And I wouldn't be surprised, because it seems like Epic Games really wants to kind of like establish themselves next to them. The only reason I'm really okay with this is, again, because of the monopoly Steam has had. Like, it's the only platform, and people have hated a lot of things about it. Like, for one, the platform, it's terrible for the fact that, have you seen all the junk that they put on there? The fact that people can put junk. There's a game that is like it's like $100, and it's just a basic ass beat 'em up, and it's a whole joke that you can just buy a basic beat 'em up for like a hundred
Yeah, there's
dollars.
Steam has, I mean, a lot of gaming like stores have a very big issue with like curation. And I think we're seeing that now on the Switch with like so much just like shovelware on that thing.
I feel like that was a problem on the Wii too, though.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of get to the stuff you want. And it makes like browsing almost impossible because you have to browse through pages and pages and pages of just like the most mediocre trash. And then just to get to like the one game you want. So it's like really you have to know what you want before you go onto the store, which encourages you to spend less time on the store, which encourages you to buy less. But here we are. But yeah, I think that's good of Epic Games. I know there's like some stuff about, maybe they have Chinese money in them, so people are a little bit worried about their data, which is understandable. But I do like the competition aspect. I also saw the other day that they give you so if you buy a game and then it goes on sale within like a couple weeks, you'll get that money refunded, which is cool. That's a policy actually that Good Old Games does, and I'm glad to see other companies pick up on that.
basically, moral of the story is Epic Game Store looks like it's doing better and better by the day.
Yeah, which is, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just glad we have some competition. Like, I don't think we need a launcher for Ubisoft and EA and Blizzard, but I do think having a couple of universal launchers like Epic and Steam and Good Old Games to kind of compete would be nice. And that way it encourages each one to be better.
Hmm. Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say on that?
It's cool. That's it. It's cool. It's great.
Awesome. Well, then let's move on.
All right. Next up. It's the one I was gonna talk. Cool. Two of my stories in a row. Let's
Yeah.
go, boys. All right. Phantasy Star Online 2. Now the reason why we're talking about it is because its PC release date got announced like a week ago. It got released like relatively, yeah, the 19th is when we heard something, which was only about like 5 days ago. And they announced the next Wednesday, or this coming Wednesday, which will be May, what, 29th? 27th. I'm stupid. May 27th is Phantasy Star Online 2's official PC release date, meaning it will officially be available to more than just the Xbox crowd, although you have to go through the Windows Store.
Yeah.
Which is a big shame, but it's a free game, so I'm not like, I don't care. So the reason I put this on is, well, for one, I'm someone who's been waiting a very long time for it. It's been a long wait. The game is like 8 years old, and it's already been on Xbox. And from what I've heard, people are really happy with it, which is it's about what I would expect. I mean, the game is good. I played it in Japanese before, and I played it with an English fan patch. But I'm happy to be able to finally play it in an official setting with an official like translation, as well as having that kind of benefit that we're going to have crossplay with the Xbox crowd, which I think is pretty cool. I've gotten that was the main brunt. Is it's coming out. It took long enough to give you an idea. They didn't announce a PC release for the longest time, and it's been out for like a year. Or no, I'm sorry, what? It's been out for a month. All right, I'm stupid. It's been out for only like a month. But leading up to release, they just said, "Oh, it's coming to PC." And the fact that we had to wait like a month afterward, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, this is coming out next week," is kind of weird. But yeah, it's finally here, and I hope a lot of people go play it for free. I hope a lot of people try it out. I already have like a whole group of people who are gonna play all on launch day with me, so
Well, there you go.
it's exciting. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say on it besides finally a release date. Yeah, go play it. Go play Phantasy Star Online 2. It's a good game.
I mean, I don't really have much to add on that. It's not really my type of game, but I'm happy that more people get to play it.
It's funny because I actually think you'd like it quite a bit more than you give it credit, because Phantasy Star Online 2 is very much just a straight action game, as opposed to a traditional like MMO. It's very much on, it's a skill level thing as opposed to like a player base kind of thing, or I'm sorry, like a class decision. So like I I can't think of another MMO that's like that much fun to play. Like I had so much fun playing it, and I was like in the lower tiers of like not having anything going on in the game. I still wasn't strong. I didn't have the skills that make the game super fun. I didn't even have any of the jobs that are like in Japan right now that are really 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 stupid and super fun to play. So, I don't know. I think it's worth trying for anyone that likes an action game personally. But
Yeah, that's maybe I'll give it a try at some point. I mean, I think it's like free to try on Xbox, so
it's free to play entirely. The only thing it's monetized as is it's like speed ups and to like speed up to getting to end game content.
yeah, like XP boosts and whatever.
Yeah, stuff like that, and then cosmetics.
Yeah, so maybe I'll try it at some point. Maybe when there's like a global pandemic and we're all forced to stay at home when I finally have time.
Oh man, I wonder when that'll happen.
All right, so yeah, that we'll go on to our next topic, which I think kind of relates to what we were talking about last week with a Call of Duty's atrocious download size. Call of Duty being clocking in at almost 200 gigabytes now, and then you look at something like a open world PlayStation exclusive Ghost of Tsushima coming in at 50 gigabytes, and you're like, what's going on here? Why is this shooter with very small levels 200 gigabytes and then a giant open world that's 50 or whatever hours long campaign and it's just 50 gigs? Like,
And it's gorgeous.
yeah,
Like,
well, hats off. And I really do like Sucker Punch for this because, I mean, even The Last of Us, that game's 100 gigs. It's like that's a linear single player game. But I really do respect our Sucker Punch for, respecting our hard drive space.
yeah, so this is something that I think talks. This is important more for like the way games are changing. Games are too big. I'm saying it. I think that they are too big. I also, I think I've ranted about this before that I feel like it's a spaghetti code thing. I don't think certain things are as good as developers think they are at it, and it happened. I mean, there's also the fact that you got to consider that I feel like Call of Duty is one of the series that like rushes really hard every year. Or they rush to meet a lot of deadlines, and at the end of the day, what they put out is largely like very similar to the last thing they put out. So I wouldn't be surprised if that has a big part
And
to
I
play.
think I mentioned it last time, but when you look at like Doom Eternal, that game's 40 gigabytes. And it looks and runs amazingly. And
It's also like super fun to play, and at the end of the day, it's also sort of a linear. Well, I wouldn't say it's linear, but like you know what I mean.
yeah, it's a linear game. But in first person shooters usually are some of the bigger offenders of like large games. Like Halo 5 is huge. It's like 100 gigs, and then we're talking about Call of Duty being that big and stuff. And then you have Doom and it's like 40 gigs and you're like, what's going on? Or like games like, I mean, Red Dead's 100 gigs, but you look at like The Witcher and that game's, I think it's like 40 gigs. When developers are good at optimizing and compression, I think it really, really helps, especially because it's like with the new consoles coming out, I mean, they're not even like the PS5's 825 gigs on its SSD. Like that's only enough for like what, four modern games?
Yeah, that's terrible. Like it's criminal, honestly. At this point, you know what my constant problem was on my PS4? Oh, dude, I've got to delete like 4 games because all my games are too big.
Well, and then you have this issue with the next gen where memory is going to be much more expensive. Like, so I was looking at SSDs comparable to the PS5 SSD. If you want to get something that's as like close to as fast as it or whatever, that's like $500 or $300 just for the for any extra memory. I know they're going to have some kind of solution probably, but you can't, if you want to play next gen games, you can't use a regular hard drive plugged in. You can use it for backwards compatibility. You can use your just a regular hard drive and plug it in, but you have to get an SSD. I know Xbox has a proprietary like kind of memory card, which adds a terabyte. Or well, they haven't announced the how much it adds and how much it's going to cost, but we'll see probably soon here. I think in June they're going to get into that kind of stuff, but still, I mean, that stuff's pretty pricey, and like you don't want to buy a console and then spend $200 on memory just so you can fit some more games, you know?
Yeah. Uh, I mean, I'm also over here. Like, I look at Warzone and I'm just like, how is it that your battle royale alone is 100 gigs?
Yeah, it's insane.
Like, it baffles me considering I don't even think the game looks that great. I said it. I said it. I don't think it looks that great. I think your character models look a little ugly. I think guns look fine, but like it really says something when like from a graphical fidelity standpoint, I was like Modern Warfare about Warzone. You don't look all that much different from any other shooter I've ever played. So I guess like I'm like, where is all this going? What causes it to be this big? Is it graphical fidelity? Is it because like their I will say their textures look nice, but like I'm not gonna be like
It's
wow.
a mix of, well, as far as I'm aware, I'm not 100% on this, but I think sound plays a huge role. Not compressing sound correctly, and because I know audio files are huge, and not compressing textures correctly, and you run into a lot of these technical things where I just don't think they compress a lot of the stuff. Now, I'm kind of talking out of my ass. I have no idea how this stuff is actually done, but that's just an assumption from based on
I
stuff that I've
mean,
heard.
from from literally like anybody that talks about anything with like game compression, the one thing that it seems unanimously I've constantly heard is it's stupid that Modern Warfare is 200 gigs. So I don't think it's an unfounded like what is going on here. But anyway, the main point was that Ghost of Tsushima, Sucker Punch is doing a good job on keeping it nice and condensed. 50 gigs, that's fine. I am okay with that.
Yeah, I can fit that on my hard drive.
I could fit that on my SSD on my new
I could buy
fangled
2
computer.
Ghost of Tsushima for the space of 1 Last of Us.
I could buy 4 Ghost of Tsushima and fit them on for one Call of Duty.
Nice.
God.
Yeah, so I think that kind of... Anything else you want to say about that?
No, it's just cool. It's good. Good job, Sucker Punch. But I don't doubt them in the first place.
So our next topic is this is kind of just a little bit of hyping, so PlayStation, they've been pretty silent regarding the PlayStation 5, and we're starting to get a little bit teased about it. This comes from Games Radar, and I believe who's the guy? The CEO, Sony's president and CEO, Kenichiro Yoshida. I think I pronounced that right. He said that games for the PS5 that deliver this new game experience are being made by both first, third. So he said games for the PS5 that deliver this new game experience are being made by both first and third-party developers, and we plan to introduce a compelling lineup of titles soon. Soon is a big word. It's a
Also,
scary word.
don't forget that they're going to have higher speed, enhanced sensory perceptions generated by its revolutionary controller, and sound delivered in 3D audio will combine to realize truly next-gen console game experiences.
And I believe in the games, like if you're like, say you're in The Witcher and you go through a dead battlefield, the controller will actually emit the scent of rotting corpses. Yeah, that's how
Oh,
next gen we
dude,
are.
whoa, that's too next-gen for me, boss.
But yeah, so PS5 is finally kind of they're teasing at a little bit of a reveal here. Am guessing June. Like that's it. That's what the rumor mills have been saying. So I assume the next few weeks, honestly, we'll probably be talking about. We'll probably have seen the console and a bunch of games for it, hopefully. So that'll be very interesting. I'm I'm really just it's weird, but I'm more curious to see what the box looks like than any games, which is probably like the dumbest thing in the world because at the end of the day, it really doesn't
Let
matter
me
what the
see
box looks
that
like.
box.
I just want to see it. I want to see it because there's so much different in the architecture of these new consoles that it's hard to make them look like an old console. So I just want to see if it looks like a toilet.
I'm super ready to just see it. Yeah, that's the main thing. All right, real talk. I don't like being told we have a lineup coming and it's great. Don't even say anything then. Like, this is something I've always hated about marketing in the gaming space is I don't know why people love to say things and then what they show never lives up to it.
Well, yeah, I think managing expectations is very hard when it comes to gaming.
I think the bigger problem is that like gaming companies are like hype beasts. They live off of it. Hype is how you get games sold. That also leads to No Man's Sky, Fallout 76. I'm sure there's several other examples that my brain is just right now. It's one of those things that like I hate. I really despise like hype in the modern genre or the modern like age because
Yeah, I mean, another example would be like Halo 5, man. Talk about like that the trailers. I mean, oh man, that was misleading.
well that's a situation where it's like I don't even know how that happened. I don't know how like the wires crossed so bad on Halo 5 that like their marketing didn't even know what game they were releasing.
Yeah, but yeah, and that's another thing too because a lot of people were hyped based on the marketing, and then what they got was not what they expected. It's honestly, I think it's what The Last of Us 2 might be in for. I mean, now that the leaks are out, obviously it kind of already went through this, but once the full game's out, who knows?
The big yeah, regardless though, compelling lineup. I actually was since I when I posted this, I was actually curious. I was wondering like, so what do you think? I wanna hear some like let's throw out some theories since I kind of want to fill up like what do you think this compelling lineup is? What do you think
Yeah,
they're gonna show?
so I have some ideas. Okay, so I think Horizon Zero Dawn to me is a given. I think that is their launch game. I think that's coming out in the fall. That's their big shmimu. I think, or Horizon, whatever they'll call it, the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon Second Dawn.
Exactly. Horizon One Dawn. And I assume they'll have some kind of knackish like platformer. Not knack, obviously, but some kind of platformer. And then
No, Knack 3, baby.
a Gran Turismo game's probably pretty safe to bet on. Obviously, you have Godfall, which has been announced. But other than that, I don't see. Maybe there's rumors of a Silent Hill, so maybe that'll be teased. And I assume we'll get a God of War teaser and a Spider-Man trailer, but Spider-Man's not going to probably come out till 2021. But so I assume we'll see some teasers and such, like kind of telling us what's coming next gen. I what was it? I don't think. I think from third party we will see something. I think Call of Duty will be on their stage. They're buddy buddy right now. Sony's with Activision. I also assume that we will see the new Batman game. That would probably be a guess.
Oh yeah. I forgot Batman exists in the gaming space because I don't even remember the last one. Was that Arkham Knight?
Yeah. And we'll also probably see whatever Blue Point is working on. The rumors it's a Demon Souls remake.
Oh, I'd play that.
But those are
That's
my
exciting.
guesses. I mean, I don't expect it to be completely mind blowing or anything, but I expect it to be satisfying.
Okay. I think most of those are pretty. I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head with a large majority of those. I'd actually wouldn't be surprised if Square Enix threw something up with them. Square Enix likes to throw up their compelling. How much you want to bet that they're gonna say that they're going to be porting the Marvel game to modern consoles?
Which Marvel
I
game?
wouldn't.
Oh,
Marvel's
Avengers.
Avengers, which we honestly all forgot is coming out probably.
Yeah, that's coming out in September. Oh gosh.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up going to next gen as well. Especially with their theory about how they're going for this like interconnectivity kind of thing. Like it's going to be a lot like a constantly expanding game world. I think it would come to next gen, uh, but yeah, I feel like Square Enix will show something with them too. That's just a given. Square's like one of the PlayStation's like biggest supporters since like ever. Actually, I wonder. I don't. The thing is Sony's been good about like kind of spreading out their announcements, as in like what they're talking about. Like they're good at like talking about game genres that like usually get kind of like they don't get as much like JRPGs for one don't get as much love over here in the States as like we like to think it does. I wouldn't be surprised if they give something like for that, like maybe a Tales of Arise trailer, or maybe a like that's coming to modern consoles too, or
Also, what about maybe a Monster Hunter World sequel?
that's up to Capcom though. I don't know what Capcom's doing with that because they're still updating Monster Hunter World. I think the last update just came out though.
I
They
was gonna say, I imagine they'll wanna like Monster Hunter World's their best selling game of all time. So I imagine they'll want to capitalize on it. When did that come out? Was that 2018 or 2017?
It was 2018. I remember that exactly.
Okay, so then they probably won't actually be revealing. It'll probably be a couple more years.
I don't know. That team's weird. I never really know what the I almost said God Eater. I never know what the Monster Hunter team is doing, to be honest.
That actually just reminded me. It's possible we see Resident Evil 8 at Sony's thing.
Huh. That's all I got for that. I'm not really sure how I'd feel about that. Maybe they'll give it out to a developer that isn't in house again.
Well, a lot of people like Resident Evil 7.
This is me. No, that's me pointing fingers at Resident Evil 3
Oh
for
yeah.
being outsourced.
Honestly, Resident Evil 3 should have just been DLC for Resident Evil 2.
I mean the mastermind mode is cool. I'll give it that. I think it's a neat idea. But otherwise, I think we can move on because I don't know. I'm like already like Basil, you gave a much better like compelling lineup than I could.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is there anything that I missed that you think will show up?
A new shooter might get shown off.
Oh, that's a good point. Because they
New
actually
Call of
don't
Duty,
have any kind of shooters.
or maybe they'll give like they'll give us a trailer for what's it called? They'll give us a trailer for Call of Duty, or they'll give us a trailer for, because there is a new one. They did say they're working on one, so we might get a new Call of Duty trailer. Might get maybe we'll get a Battlefield, because Battlefield hasn't been talking.
I wouldn't expect that because I think Battlefield is keeping their head down until next year.
I also feel like if they said anything, they'd say it officially through EA
Yeah,
instead.
which EA is having their own event in June. So we're going to have a lot to talk about in just a couple of weeks here.
All right. But yeah, let's move on. You posted the next one. I don't know anything. I don't know.
Okay, so In Exile, the makers of Wasteland and I think what is it, Bard's Tale or something? There's another. They're known for doing kind of like turn-based RPGs. They were recently bought by Microsoft, and now they're finishing up Wasteland 3, and then they're going to be doing a AAA next-gen action RPG. And it has been confirmed by Exile's Twitter site. Somebody asked them if they're using Unreal Engine 5, and they said, "We're excited to share more, although it'll be a while. They're focusing on finishing Wasteland 3 and getting it into people's hands on August 28th, and they will indeed be using Unreal Engine 5 for our next project." So this kind of ties into what we were talking about last week with the Unreal Engine 5's reveal, and how I was kind of saying that Microsoft, they're a huge customer of Epic, and it's weird to me that they didn't pursue the relationship that Sony seems to be pursuing with Epic, because Microsoft, they've literally, I mean, this is another AAA next gen exclusive using Unreal Engine owned by Microsoft. Now, there is the possibility the reason they're not kind of pursuing a deeper relationship with Epic is because they're in a way competitors now, because like Microsoft has their own store on the PC front, and Sony doesn't. So maybe Sony's gonna like just use Epic for their kind of PC exclusives and not really worry about making their own launchers and stuff, which is nice on the end of we don't need another launcher. But I thought this was interesting. I'm actually very very excited to see what InXile does with a AAA budget. And another interesting thing about their project, which by the way probably won't be coming out for about 4 years,
Oh,
but
oh,
3 or 4. But the project is also the main combat designer is the main combat designer from God of War 2018.
really?
So yeah,
What?
they've been bolstering up their team.
That's pretty exciting, actually.
So yeah, what do you think about all that?
I mean, for one, it's cool that they're using Unreal Engine 5. Nothing surprising there, though, considering how big it's about to be. But since this is gonna be like at least like 4 years off, yeah, that's I don't know how to feel about it. Hearing the combat designer is very interesting. I didn't know that. I also don't know a whole lot about In Exile, and I haven't been like keeping my eyes on them all that much. I don't know a whole lot about Wasteland either. I know it's I recall Wasteland 2 was well received.
So the devs of Wasteland they made the first Fallout games, and then they obviously couldn't make Fallout games anymore. So they made Wasteland, which is just kind of like a spiritual successor to the original Fallout games, like the isometric ones. And then, so yeah, they've been doing that for a while. And then they made, I think, what is it? I think it's called A Bard's Tale. And then, which are well received. Like I think all of their RPGs have been well received. Not really my type of games. I'm more of an action RPG person than a point and click RPG, like with that kind of isometric view. But there's still talent there, and it's cool to see what they could potentially do with a AAA budget.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Especially hearing this whole thing that they're going over to an action game, which I'm just like, what? It's really weird to hear that they're gonna go to like a more standard action game. Although I'm curious what that actually means.
Yeah, I hope it's like action. I mean, apparently RPGs are a huge part of what Microsoft is doing moving forward. Because you have In Exile, you have Obsidian, and you have obviously this hasn't been announced, but it's pretty much a unconfirmed like fact at this point that Fable 4 is coming, and that's going to be an action RPG. So Microsoft seems to really be pushing RPGs next gen, which is kind of awesome to me because as much as I love the third person action games of Sony, I do think that a little bit more RPG, goes a long way. not to say like upgrading mechanics RPG wise, but story wise, like you look at The Witcher, what makes it to me so memorable is the fact that you have all these different choices and the consequences of your choices and the way the story plays out can happen in so many different ways. Whereas then you look at games like Horizon Zero Dawn, and it's like, no, the story's the story, and yeah, there's a little bit of dialogue and stuff, but it's really just there like superficially. And I mean, I don't believe Ghost of Tsushima is that kind of game either. I think it's just a third person action game. I don't think it's RPG at all, which is fine. Like not every game has to be that, but I do think it's cool to see like Microsoft being like, yeah, well, we're going to be the ones to push it. And AAA budgets can for these types of studios who have the passion and the talent in writing. I mean, Outer Worlds is a fantastic game. So I can't wait to see what Obsidian does with a AAA budget. But yeah, I'm just excited to see more of these types of RPGs, which are games that we don't get a whole lot of, I feel. And I think when we do get them, though, good ones anyway, they kind of stand out. Like, I mean, Cyberpunk, there's a reason people are just over the moon excited for it.
Yeah, because no one's excited for Cyberpunk actually.
Cyberpunk? What's that?
Yeah, never heard of it. Yeah, I think you're right. I think RPGs are about to become. I think we're about to enter the RPG boy era. Like, I think it's because like people see the success of Witcher and then they proceed to see that, whoa, hold up, everyone likes Cyberpunk. I didn't know everyone wanted this genre of game so much.
Yeah. Well, when you do it good, people will buy.
Whoa. Well, also, I wonder if part of that also comes off the back that one of the we'll talk about it later, but considering what's selling super well right now and is currently on top of the charts, a certain RPG that recently just came out. I wonder if it's just like RPGs are going to be like having a renaissance right now, because it sure seems like that's where we're going. It's cool. That's all I gotta say. Really, more RPGs would be awesome. But I am excited to see this action game. It depends on what kind of action game they go with.
Well, it's
The
an
one thing I
action
will,
RPG, so.
yeah, all right. Well, the one thing I'll say is, in Exile, depending on how their writing is, considering, it could be a little tongue in cheek. I'd like to see them do that because I like when we have that quirky attitude of like a Fallout or a
That's something interesting to me is I think Obsidian and Exile kind of both have that tongue-in-cheek kind of style. So I don't know. I would kind of like one of them. I mean, I know they have Ninja Theory to be the like the serious like Hellblade. Like those games don't mess around. Like they're super dark and super serious. So I understand having but I would like to see like I don't think every game because that's one of the issues I have with Sony is I feel that most of their games are just like look how serious things are. Not to say they don't have their enjoyable tongue-in-cheek moments. I think God of War actually has a ton of comedy in it, and it's actually a very entertaining game in that sense. But it is nice to be like, okay, we're gonna be the we want to have a little bit of fun here.
uh yeah, I'm 100% like I'm in for that then. Like I'm in. I've been meaning to give Wasteland 2 a try and the original two Fallouts in the first place, so I'm curious to actually see what their writing style fully is, because I know it's a little more tongue-in-cheek, because there's a lot of that stuff in the original Fallout that's really just silly nonsense. But, uh, yeah, I'm 100% cool with it. I'm glad they're using Unreal Engine 5, though. This is the first studio I think we've gotten true confirmation is using it, besides Epic themselves, probably.
Yeah, well, yeah, besides Fortnite. Yeah, I think so. I assume that Ninja Theory and obviously I think Gears 6 will probably be on or Gears 6. Yeah, Gears 6. We just had Gears 5, right? Not Gears 6. I can't I think Gears 6 will be using it. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for next gen to see what Sony and what Microsoft kind of bring to the table. I'm glad that Microsoft has a bunch of studios now and is actually trying to compete when it comes to first party exclusives.
All right, then let's move on to the next topic, because the next one is actually it's one you have more to say than I do, because you have a very 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 high opinion of the studio.
So, Respawn, they're opening a new studio just to specifically focus on Apex Legends. This comes from GameSpot, by the way, and it's part of their 10th anniversary. Respawn announced a second studio, and it's to take pressure off the team in California and just kind of focus on Apex Legends, so that the way the team in California, the main team, can focus on new stuff, which to me is awesome. Respawn, I have not disliked a single game they've made. I think their worst game was Titanfall 1, and it wasn't bad. I think it was just the worst game because of lack of content, which I think has to do with Sony wanting the game out for the consoles. But that's neither here nor there. Titanfall 2 is one of the best first-person shooters I've ever played. Jedi Fallen Order was a very, very good game in my opinion.
Wait, back up. What do you mean it has to do with Sony?
Did I say Sony? I meant EA.
Yeah, okay.
I
I
thought I
also
said
because
EA.
I was about to say I was about to say Sony didn't even get Titanfall 1.
Yeah, no, Titanfall 1 I think was meant to be rushed out because of EA. Did I say Sony?
Yeah, you said Sony.
I'm going crazy here.
I
But
was like,
anyway,
no, the game wasn't exclusive on Xbox consoles. The second one is the one that ended up
yeah.
being multi-platform.
Electronic Arts was who I meant.
Good old EA.
Yeah, EA, man. What a team. Anyways, so I'm excited to see Respawn being able to kind of breathe a little bit and focus more. Apex Legends also I think is the best Battle Royale game, even though I'm not really into Battle Royale games. And I want to see what they do next. I know they pretty much confirmed that Titanfall 3 isn't happening, which is a bummer. Like it sucks. It makes a lot of sense because Titanfall 2 was kind of murdered once again by Electronic Arts, but that's neither here nor there. I'm very excited to see what they do next. I think rumors are that they're going to be doing a Medal of Honor or something in that style, which could be interesting considering many of the team at Respawn were the original creators of Medal of Honor, and then they went to Infinity Ward and made Call of Duty, and then now they went to Respawn. So it would be very interesting.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, that'd be very interesting, huh? I don't know how I feel about seeing Medal of Honor return. I haven't really missed it, but all right. I mean, that'd be interesting. I actually want to see them do more original things though. Like, I mean, Titanfall 2 I haven't played, but everyone tells me it's incredible. Go play it. Its single player campaign is so good. All the multiplayer is so good, except like now it's hard to play because everyone is good at the game. Uh, I I would think that this is only a net positive for them, and this says a lot about Respawn. I mean, they are a lot of veterans of the shooter genre, and they also showed that they don't have to only play or only make shooters, because then they made Fallen Order, which is also a good game.
Yeah, which tells me that maybe their next game is a third person type game. Maybe it's first person. One thing I like to see is when a studio can jump into a different genre and do it well. We saw this with Horizon Zero Dawn. We saw this with Jedi Fallen Order. I hope we can see this with Fable 4, considering that's a racing team who used to make Forza Horizon games is making action RPG. But I always love to see studios try something new and maybe succeed. And that's something that I really hope to see with Respawn.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say except this is a really good net positive. It also shows Apex Legends isn't going anywhere. Like, they're clearly committed to Apex pretty hard, and it's making the money. I mean, it's what? Where is it in the popularity charts right now?
It's like third place, you know.
Is it
Obviously,
third?
Fortnite's top, Warzone is
Yeah.
second, and then Apex Legends.
I can't believe Warzone is second, considering I don't think it's like that well polished. I
It's
find
Call of Duty.
everything about Apex better.
It's Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's also
brand.
200 gigs.
Yeah, I know.
God.
In comparison, I think Apex is like 12 gigs.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, so
I mean,
I think that's all I have to say on that. What about you?
yeah, I don't have anything else to say. It's good. Apex is a good battle royale, so
It's good. All right. So this next one you brought up about Mafia.
I mean, it's pretty easy to see why it's a good story though. So, Mafia 2 and 3, the definitive editions that were coming out. We mentioned last week that the Mafia definitive trilogy essentially was coming. They were remaking the first game and re-releasing the second and third games. The second one in this case being up-resed for modern consoles and sold in a definitive edition with its DLC. Well, they actually announced today, or not today. They announced that hey, guess what? Actually, if you own Mafia 3 on Xbox One, PS4, or Steam, you'll get the upgrade to the definitive edition for free. And then Mafia 2, if you own it on Steam, you'll get an upgrade to the definitive edition for free. Otherwise, the definitive edition, just to give you an idea, is going to be $30 for the second game by itself. Yeah. So I don't think there's anything bad about this. This is great. That's super cool of the developer. Let's be honest. Like they didn't have to do that.
Yeah, I love seeing that. When a studio is like, hey, you already own our game, we'll give you a free update to the better version. Like I don't see any. I see this as an absolute win.
I think 2K is like 2K did something like this or did something similar to this with was it BioShock? Because I believe 2K also published BioShock, didn't they?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, they did something like this with BioShock as well when they re-released the BioShock games in that new whatever or the Rapture collection or whatever. Or whatever it was called. It was, the one that people didn't like for a while because it was broken on Steam. But it was still really cool of them to like basically be like, here you go for free. If you already own it, we'll slash the price or we'll let you have the updated version for free. And it's like that's cool. You don't have to do it. It's just good business. It's just being kind. And it'll make people like you. I also have a fondness for 2K personally. I think 2K games actually is like it's pretty good. I like a lot. I like a fair share of their games. So there's nothing but good here. I will say I understand it's really hard to do anything for Mafia 2 because Mafia 2 was not a modern game. But I appreciate that they did it for the Steam players in the first place. Didn't have to do it, but they did. I am curious. I'm going to say this. I am curious how the Mafia 3 thing is going to work. Considering they said it's going to be on Xbox One, PS4, and
I assume it's just updates, right? Just free update.
just like a patch. All right, yeah, I can see that. Although I will say, I feel kind of bad for the people who own Mafia 3 and proceed to get the update, and they already bought the DLC, so it's like you don't get anything new out of it.
Yeah, that's I mean that let's be honest, that's kind of with video games, they lose value as time goes by. So if I'm the person buying, for instance, Destiny, I think is the perfect example of this because what Destiny does is they release their full game $60, and then they release $20 expansion, $20 expansion, $40 expansion, and then altogether that's another what? So if you had bought those all when they'd come out, you've already spent over $100 on Destiny. But if you wait until the like mid whatever when they have their big like Taken King expansion, for instance, you could buy the game at $60 and get all the content, and you don't have to instead of spending $100 and something, which is kind of unfortunately. I mean, that's what definitive editions are. Like Fallout did it with Fallout 4. They release you can get all the DLC, the full game for like 30 whatever bucks now. Video games just it's just, they go on sale. They if you're essentially paying the premium price for getting the game early for time. So yeah, I mean that's just the way it is.
It's just good. Just good.
So yeah, moving on to our next topic, also concerning Take Two, or 2K, owned by Take Two. But Daniel Ahmad, he's like an analyst on Twitter. He mostly deals with like sales and stuff. He just tweeted revealing some of Take Two's business and how well they've done. So yeah, their sales. I'll start with the bottom. The Outer Worlds sold 2.5 million units, which is very good for a small RPG, but that's also not including, obviously, Game Pass people. So I assume a lot more people have played it than that, considering Game Pass is 10 million subscribers. You can just do the math. But Borderlands 3 sold 10 million units, also very good. NBA 2K20, 12 million units. Apparently that's 33% up from 2K19, so good for them, I guess, even though those games are trash. Red Dead Redemption 2, 31 million units. And Grand Theft Auto 5, 130 million units. And he specifies that the GTA 5 does not include the free copies via Epic Game Store.
There's also something in his Twitter thread, if you actually kept reading in. He also mentions that, for reference, Minecraft is the only paid game to sell more than GTA 5 at 200 million units.
Which is insane.
Maybe Tetris, he said.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, is absolutely insane.
So yeah, GTA 5, everyone loves it. And that's not including those free copies? That's crazy.
What's insane is every week, pretty much for an entire console generation, Grand Theft Auto 5 has been in the top 10 or 20 sales. Every single month.
It's a game that keeps on keep it on somehow. I mean, I like GTA 5. I thought to give you an idea, to give some background. This is the first GTA I've ever played through. The entirety of it was GTA 5. I did not play GTA 4 very much. I got it, played like maybe halfway, and then I was like, eh.
You just described my experience with GTA 5. I got it,
I
played halfway, and was like, eh.
I think it just goes to show that like there's something about that, like the world of Grand Theft Auto people are just rabid for. Not to mention, I think a big part of it was that the online mode became so
Oh yeah,
good
it's
as it
huge.
moved forward.
I mean, it is kind of, in my opinion, plagued by kind of like microtransactions, but I mean, people love it.
Yeah, I think a big part of that has to do with, well, for one, the community on PC is crazy now. Like the amount of stuff that the PC community does for GTA is insane to me. I can't even like fathom that they go to such lengths for things like like custom game modes and just all, and that stuff that's even kind of on the console releases as well. So I, I'm not surprised, I guess, that it sold really well. I guess I'm just surprised it's considered the second best selling game ever.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah, no, it's
Just
insane.
I guess this is just a looks at Rockstar and like look at how good they are. I don't think there's anything else to really say on that front. Rockstar is a great developer.
Yeah, they are. I mean, Red Dead 2 to me is one of if not the best video game I've ever played in my entire life. Not to sound hyperbole, but it's or I should let me put it like this. It is the most impressive video game I've played in my entire life. Um I don't it's not my favorite video game obviously for me that's probably Halo 2, but I from just a purely like outside looking in, you look at this game world, to me it is the most impressive game.
Yeah, all right. I can see where you feel that.
And I think GTA is an extremely impressive game too. And I think that's what Rockstar does is they're one of those developers who just push the envelope of video games. And I think there's not many developers who really do that anymore. Like, even Ghost of Tsushima, which looks like fun, I don't think it really pushes the envelope in any way. It just looks like a good game, which not to say that every game has to push the envelope. I don't think so. But, it's nice to see games that do push the envelope and do well. It's like obviously like Doom Eternal does not push the envelope, but it's an amazing game. And it's just nice to see that. I hope moving forward we do see more games that kind of just take these risks. Well, it okay. It's a little weak to call a GTA a risk, obviously, because
You
GTA is
say that?
going to
Yeah,
sell.
I'm gonna counter that. GTA, while it does sell, it was always a risk because remember, GTA has had a maligned opinion in the media.
This is
That's
true.
that's not gaming media. It's always had a bit of this like, oh, the new GTA gonna corrupt our children. It's always had this condescending opinion amongst society. Uh, even though I 100% Grand Theft Auto, in my experience, the story always tells you your characters are bad people. It never says that their actions are good, and this is especially the case in 5, where even the best character is someone who is an individual of circumstance who does bad things. So like, I think it really comes down to the fact that like, I I don't know. I can see where risk might be important. I can
Yeah,
kind of see where that could come from.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I think they deserve a lot of the sales they've gotten. I think they make very good games. And I'm glad to see, I'm glad to see Outer Worlds is doing good. I'm glad to see, obviously, Red Dead is doing good. I know a lot of people like Borderlands 3, and I know a lot of people who were disappointed in Borderlands 3. But it's nice to see people being able to, the way I always see it when games sell well, and with Rockstar especially, it's like okay, they can take all this money and then they can put it into their next game, and that's usually what they do. Like if you look at Grand Theft Auto, and then the step up to Red Dead, and then now imagine whatever the next game they make is going to be. If it's Grand Theft Auto or whatever, it's going to be even more insane. But yeah, so I don't really have anything else to say about that, but I just think it's crazy.
Yeah, Actually, I forgot there was a news story I forgot to post because it's actually related to this. It's regarding 2K. I'm gonna bring it up real quick. We can make what we will of it. It's just interesting. Take Two said recently that in an earnings call they have a plan by March 2025 to have a total of 93 games to be in development and released by March 2025.
Did they specify how many of those were mobile games?
63 core gaming experiences, including 15 platform extensions of existing titles.
Oh wow.
17 are mid-core or arcade-style experiences. 13 are casual experiences. 47 of the 93 are from existing franchises, and 46 are from new IP. 72 of the 93 games are coming to console, PC, and or streaming. 7 of them will be available on mobile. 21 are in development exclusively. So only 21 are actually exclusives to mobile.
Okay.
So that's a lot of games still. By 2025, I'm curious what that's about. They did also mention that they didn't say particular studios. So I the only reason I brought that up is because it just showcases that 2K has a lot of clout, and I'm curious what a lot of those titles are. Interesting enough, GameSpot's article when I brought it up mentioned that they wondered if GTA 5 was getting a re-release on modern consoles again.
That would not surprise me. To be honest, I could see them remastering it for modern consoles.
To be honest, I could see them remastering it for the next 2 console generations because of how much they seem to love it.
Like, and then just selling that forever and ever and ever. Or at least the GTA Online component. Maybe not like the main single player campaign. Maybe they won't do that. But I could definitely see that.
Hey, what if I said that GTA 5 is going to be the new Skyrim? It just works.
It just works.
But yeah, that's all. I just figured it was an interesting statistic. I don't think there's too much to really like boil down though, because it's vague, and they don't mention studios, so it's just something to keep in mind that up until March 2025 we have that potential. As a potential, they did say that things get canceled, so interesting, right?
Yeah, very interesting. Oh, all right. Well,
Time for the last one as we pull the on.
all right. So, and I want to do this every month, but just pointing out the top 20 sales, game sales of the month. And I'll just kind of start at the top and work my way down. So number one for the month of April, and obviously because sales are released later, we're not doing May right now, we're doing April. But the month of April, we have Final Fantasy VII Remake, topping the list, followed by Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Animal Crossing New Horizons, NBA 2K20, Grand Theft Auto 5, obviously, Resident Evil 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, MLB The Show 20, Madden NFL 20, Red Dead Redemption 2. What is that? Just Dance. Oh, Just Dance 2020. Man, wow, they sold pretty. FIFA 20, Mortal Kombat 11, Borderlands 3, Predator Hunting Grounds. It's an interesting one. Mortal Kombat 8 Deluxe. Did I just say Mortal Kombat? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mortal Kombat Mario Kart. It's the same game. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Persona 5 Royal. Need for Speed Heist. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. So those are the
What?
top 20 games.
That
And
last one.
yeah, well, there's a few kind of like standouts to me in there. One, Predator Hunting Grounds being number 15.
Yo,
That to
that
me is
game's
shocking.
actually that
But
game's good though.
really,
It's
because I've heard
actually
not good things.
all right. I'm about to lay it into you. Have you noticed the trend, the isometric multiplayer games that have like a antagonist versus several human normal characters
Yeah, they're usually horror
always
games,
seem
like
to
Dead by
have this?
Daylight.
Yeah, they always seem to have this, yet they have consistent player bases. Dead by Daylight is still played to this day. There's the fact that Evolve died, but Evolve died because of other reasons. But like the thing I've always noticed is these games get a bad rap, like these style. For some reason, people hate them. I think Predator Hunting Ground, from what I've seen, I could see it. Now here's the thing: Predator Hunting Ground also isn't a full $60 game. I believe it was sold on discount.
Oh, you're right. It's $40, I think, right?
Yeah, it's not a full game. So I can actually see why it's making charts. Not to mention, it's a cool idea. I think the Predator is still like if there's anyone who's been misrepresented in the gaming sphere, it's the Alien and Predator series.
Yeah, yeah,
So I definitely think that that's actually not that surprising, and I think the game is better quality than people give it credit. Not because it's like, wow, look how pretty this game is, or wow, it's a fundamentally new idea. No, it's banking on the Predator, but at least it's doing it effectively.
fair enough.
And I don't know. That's all I gotta say on that. I've been meaning to buy it because I actually like the way the game looks a lot. But so let's just move. Actually, let's like start at the top and just go down and say if we're surprised or not, and then elaborate.
Yeah, so Final Fantasy VII. I don't think this comes as a surprise at all. You know, it's Final Fantasy VII Remake. That game has had
Everyone,
years and years of hype, and it doesn't really shock me. It it is kind of crazy. This is just on one console, and it's exclusive on PlayStation for a year. So I imagine it'll get a second boom of sales when it releases on PC and Xbox next year. But yeah, so that's crazy. I'm happy for Square Enix that they are able to continue to push games off.
look at all this money Square Enixes are coming in with. They're like, Final Fantasy VII remake, money, and then they're like, Final Fantasy 14 making us money.
Yo, yeah.
And then when Marvel's Avengers comes out, I almost bet you money, maybe.
Maybe. That game could
Maybe
also
that one.
flop.
Yeah, I could. Modern Warfare, nah, no
Yeah, Call of
surprise.
Duty's always in the top 5.
Yeah, Animal Crossing still going strong.
Yeah, I imagine Animal Crossing will be in the top for the next couple of months.
Yeah, it's
It's
a game
it's a
that's
phenomenon. Like I don't think any game in the last couple of months at least has been nearly as large as Animal Crossing, in the sense that it's almost become like a Minecraft level game where it's just everywhere. Like everyone and their mom knows what it is now.
yeah, it's happened somehow. It went from being a fairly obscure, not super talked about title back on the GameCube when it first released in the States, but now it's like everywhere. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Obviously, the current world situation might have helped them a bit with that. Then we have NBA 2K20. Once again, not surprising. I think the 2K games are awful, though. They have some of the worst microtransactions in the world, and they're usually pretty buggy. But there you go. That's there. And then and this is crazy to me. This underdog of a game managed to sell this well. Grand Theft Auto 5. Could you believe it?
No, I never expected it, dude. It's crazy.
I mean, we're on the precipice of a new gen, and a game that came out on the PS3 and Xbox 360 is in the top 5. It's insane.
After that, we got Resident Evil 3, which we reiterating through the list. This one, I don't like that it's as high up on this list as it is. It pisses me off mostly because not because Resident Evil is a bad series or because 3 in particular is super bad, but it's like I don't know. There's like a loss of like. There's something about the fact that they like gave it to a different studio to work on than doing it in house. Like 2 kind of like rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I can see why it's high up on the list. I mean, horror games sell, especially once they get sensationalized by like internet influencers and stuff like that. Horror games start to sell, dude. So, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Another Call of Duty.
Plus,
MLB.
it's
Or
one
did
of
you want to say something about that?
what?
I don't know. I thought I was ready to
Well,
skip talking about Call of Duty.
oh no, the only reason I was gonna bring it up is no surprise because it is probably the biggest Modern War, or it's the biggest Call of Duty that ever came out for a long time. Yeah. Modern Warfare 1 and 2 were both massive games, so I'm not surprised. MLB, who cares? I get it. It sells. It's a sports game. It'll sell.
Sports games sell.
Um,
Interesting fact about MLB though. That's a PlayStation exclusive right now. Next year it will no longer be a PlayStation exclusive. It'll be a Sony published game that'll be coming out on Xbox. Weird.
that is weird.
Because their deal with, if they want to keep making those games, the MLB said that they have to put them on more platforms because their contract or whatever ended.
Huh.
Yeah,
It's
so
wacky.
it is interesting. Obviously, Madden's gonna sell well. It's Madden. Red Dead, nice. I'm always happy to see Red Dead up there. because obviously it doesn't have the broad appeal of GTA. So I'm just happy that it's selling well. I was worried it didn't sell enough. I mean, what, 30 million copies? Is that enough?
No, no, make it sell more. Hey, guess what? Guess what?
No one cares
Guess what
about
time it is?
Just Dance?
Yeah, Just Dance, boys. Just Dance. It sells. Apparently, it does well for Ubisoft. So yeah, and then after that, we got FIFA. Okay. Mortal Kombat 11. I
It's,
got nothing.
yeah. I mean, apparently people
That
like it. It's selling super well. I might try it eventually. It's on the Switch.
I'm not surprised it's selling well, considering 11 had a lot of hype around it, especially after X was so successful. But the thing is also they just came around. They're coming around to their next update. And now that I think about it, actually, they just announced Aftermath,
Yeah, I heard
which
about that.
it's gonna add friendships. It's also adding so the game's still going, and I'm sure it will
Well,
go
it's
on for a
adding
little
single
while.
player story content to a Mortal Kombat game, which is kind of crazy. Like that's a little unprecedented.
I mean, Mortal Kombat cares about having a good cinematic story mode more than like most fighters do. So,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Borderlands 3. Mm,
Mhm. Expected. Like I expected that it would do well, and but it's not really. Borderlands has never really grabbed me as a series.
yeah, that's fair. We already talked about Predator. Mario Kart 8, classic.
Oh
No
yeah,
surprise.
that's crazy though because that game came out in the Wii U and it's selling like gangbusters. It's actually I'm pretty sure it's the best-selling Switch game. I think it's like at 25 million copies or something.
I could see that.
Fallen Order, I'm happy to see that still selling well. Um, the better that sells, the better for video games in the world because EA didn't believe that a non-multiplayer Star Wars game could sell better than a multiplayer one, but they were proven wrong.
And then Persona 4 Royal. It's still up there. Persona. I. Oh, you're right. I said 4. I mean Persona 5 Royal. The Persona game that pretty much made it mainstream. Haha. And it got its re-release in Royal. Yay. The reason I say I was dissented about that or so dissenting about it is because I don't have a very high opinion of 5. But that's neither here nor there. The next one, Need for Speed. I didn't even realize there was a Need for Speed game that was out in a while.
Yeah, neither did I.
So there's that, I guess. And then the last one, Dragon Ball Kakarot.
I think anything with the Dragon Ball name is just gonna sell well.
Yeah, it pisses me off though, because Kakarot's a bad game.
I've heard that.
Yeah, it's really
Oh, not
bad.
to
Like
mention,
it's
didn't
jank.
Kakarot kind of come out when there was like nothing out?
Yeah, it came out like by itself at the start of January with like maybe one other game. So yeah,
Yeah.
but that's about it that I can think of.
Well, there you go then. So yeah, I think that's kind of all of our topics for this week. So Sky, as we do now, what are you playing, Sky?
Whoa, all right, that's pretty wacky, dude.
Yeah,
So
we be
I have been
wackadoos.
playing. I've been playing more Warzone against my better judgment. I've also been playing some Final Fantasy still because I that's what I play. I raid, haha. There was something else I started playing recently, and I'm trying to remember what it was. I re-downloaded a bunch of my like. I was playing some Dead Cells, right? I was playing
Oh,
Dead Cells
nice.
for a
That's a
little
good
bit.
game.
I really like Dead Cells. I never got around to playing the updates, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm working on getting back up to that strength. I already beat the game. I already beat my first run, or I beat 2 runs already. So within like one sitting, which I was like, I realized, oh man, I'm actually good at this game.
Yeah.
Um, Other than that, I haven't been playing too much. I'm gonna be playing a crap ton of Phantasy Star. Though. I'm gonna say that right now once it comes out on Wednesday. So yeah, that's all I've really been doing. I haven't been playing as much lately this week.
Fair enough. So yeah, for me, I've been playing Stardew Valley, and enjoying it. I'm almost done with the first year in the game, and yeah, it's just been a chill, relaxing Switch game to play like in bed, and I can't really complain. I'm just enjoying it. It's a fun time, just chill. And then I've also started because it was 16 bucks on Xbox. I bought Greedfall, and I was giving that a shot. That game it's a little janky. It's not a AAA game by any means. It's a AA. It feels a little bit more like a Xbox 360 game or a PS3 game than a modern gen game. But it the writing I think is the strong point, and that's kind of what I'm enjoying so far. And it feels a little bit like old BioWare, like Mass Effect kind of feel of like having companions, and then there's like companion quests and stuff, and it reminds me a lot of a BioWare game. Uh, it's a little bit janky though, like it's definitely very janky, but I don't know. I'm gonna keep playing it, and I mean it was $16, so not that big of a investment. So like if I don't finish it, I don't finish it. But I'm gonna give it a fair shot. I've also still continuing playing every single Halo mission. I'm almost through Halo 2, and then in June I will start Halo 2 or Halo 3 ODST.
I'm gonna start Halo 2 again.
It's a good game. It's my
I
favorite game of
mean,
all time.
I think I think its campaign is really good if its difficulty wasn't so stupid.
Well, that's why you don't play it on Legendary.
Anything harder than heroic?
Yeah, I was playing on Heroic because that's actually the
Yeah.
way Halos are meant to be played, on Heroic.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, good for you, man. You're gonna be up to Halo 3 soon, and then you'll get to play the game that I'm like, yeah, it's a conclusion, all right. Yeah, you heard me. I was like, Halo 3. It's not like I don't have a crazy amount of
Oh,
love
I thought
for
you were
it.
talking about Halo 5. No, Halo 3 is
Oh
one of the
no,
best games ever made, in my opinion.
oh no, Halo 5 was a conclusion of the Halo franchise.
It was a conclusion of the direction that 343 was taking it in, and
No,
then
it was a
after it
conclusion of the
failed,
studio because Infinite's not coming out.
yeah, no, Infinite's coming out, but that's a completely different direction with a new studio, essentially. Like it's still 343, but they literally have traded out like 7 different people.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's neither here nor there. This isn't a Halo podcast, now is it? Oh, I'm also reading the Witcher books. I'm on book 4, and I'm halfway through it, and I'm almost done because they are good books, and I'm
Wow.
enjoying them.
Wow. How about that?
How about it? And that's kind of episode 2 of the weekly game drive. Tune in next week for to hear Larry say,
What?
I don't know. I was doing,
What?
the VeggieTales like song or whatever. Anyways,
Oh,
this time
I okay. I don't feel like I get that at all. All
well,
right.
obviously you weren't raised by vegetables, but that
That's
uh
what you think.
oh yeah, maybe I do think it, maybe I don't. Have you thought about that?
All right, everybody. Take care. Have a
Yeah,
good day. And
we'll
this
see
has
you
been the
next week,
weekly
and
game
hopefully
drive.
we get some news this week so we don't have to talk about ourselves.
Veggie
I
Tales?
don't know.
Oh, jeez. Not ourselves.
Anyways, that's it for the weekly game drive. Goodbye, all.
Why?